Good morning, Javier Franco. Perspective from my porch. Steps for Success life coach, founder. I'm not on my porch today. I'm back though. Some of y'all may or may not know, but I had an accident back in April, and I've been out for a while. But thus, I've been wanting to do this a video for a while. I haven't felt good. I did have a surgery on my neck, and but I'm doing great now. I'm doing a lot better. So I appreciate y'all watching this once again. I'm gonna do this a little bit more as I get better. I'm gonna start doing more perspective from my portrait videos. For some of y'all who don't know, I do have a YouTube channel. It's called Perspective from My Porch. If you would go and subscribe to that. I don't have very much. I think I have like 7 or 8 followers on that, which is good. But I like to get more on there and put some videos on there. It's going to be, for now, it's going to be the same video that I post here. It's going to be the same video that I post on YouTube. So if you're missing some of them, there's a whole lot of videos on there that I've posted. So if you want to go back and watch some of those are great too. As I was thinking about what I was going to say today, I was thinking about the changes in life that I've had in the last few months, and that sometimes we do have the obstacles. I always talk about obstacles and what happens when we have obstacles, that we have to go around them, we have to break them down, and we have to adjust our lives. In this situation in my life, I've had to stop, I've had to reevaluate, and I've had to start over on some things. The obstacles that came about have hindered me from doing a lot, but at the same time, as I sat there in my room at the hospital, I was thinking about, so what am I going to do in order to regain momentum again, regain where I was, and that was a big obstacle. Well, as I go through those obstacles, I've rethought of things that I want to do now, and how I'm going to approach certain things in life. Um, in our personal lives, you come around obstacles. You as a person, also as a viewer, have probably come around obstacles, have seen some obstacles, and have wondered, well, what am I going to do now? Um, the thing that I've learned to this accident that I had, to this situation that I went through, and the operation, the surgery, I'm sorry, was that as I reevaluate, as I rethink, uh, the adjustment period is going to be a term, long term adjustment. As those long term adjustments, I've talked about goals. I've talked about how the goals are important: short term, mid term, and long term goals. At this point, I'm at the short term goal. I'm not doing long term goals. I'm not doing mid term goals. I'm doing just short term goals. Uh, to the way that I'm doing my short term goals is on a day by day, week by week, and I'm learning to do those goals so that eventually, when I get to the point that I can set a long term goal, my long term goal is to be able to walk without the walker, but to use my cane. And that's my long term goal at this point. At the same time, in order for me to get to that part of my life, I'm going to have a whole bunch of little short term goals, small steps to get to where I need to go. Is it going to be frustrating? It's going to be very frustrating. Is it going to be one of those situations where I have setbacks? Yes, I'm still going through therapy. I'm still having to relearn a lot of things. The walking part, I'm having to learn how to do getting things with my hands. Um, but it's all those little short-term goals that are going to get me to the long term of eventually just walking with a cane. At one point, that was not even on my radar of having a long-term goal of walking with my cane. I had determined that I was going to be walking with a walker. Interested enough, these obstacles that I ran through, this accident that I went through, was more positive than I realized, because with the negative came a big positive, and the big positive, and some people say, how is that a positive? I ended up having to have neck surgery, but with that neck surgery came a lot of positive. I started regaining momentum. I started gaining feelings in parts of my body because of the nerve damage that was there. So it became a very positive incident that occurred. Uh, and that was one of those situations where, like, wow, I cannot believe this is going on. I cannot believe that the after effects were that I'm in a very positive way right now. Um, but I had to have that big obstacle come in my life. Now I'm not saying that you're all going to go through that big obstacle. I'm not saying that you have to have a surgery. I'm not saying that you have to have an accident. But sometimes we have to have that big moment of realization of, okay, boom, we've hit the bottom. Last night I was talking to a friend of mine, and I said sometimes we have to be knocked down. There's a song that says this. Sometimes we have to be knocked down to make us look upward. Sometimes we have to fail. I know some people who own businesses who are struggling to get to where they need to be or where they want to be. But the struggle, the lessons, the things that we learn as we go up, it's very important for us to learn the lessons in order for us to get to the long term, for us to get to that the successful point. As we open businesses, as we do things in life, we are going to struggle. We are going to have failures, but a lot of people stop at that first failure. They stop after little failure, back failure, failure. Uh, the saying of sometimes it takes 999 steps before we get to the 1,000 steps, and at the 1,000 steps we become a success. And then when we make those, look at all the things that have been invented, how many mistakes have been done to get to the success. Excuse me. And you can read those over and over, stories about people who have failed and failed, and eventually they get to the success. In my life, one of the things that I learned is that I will have to make mistakes. I will have to start over. But the thing about it is that I plan on making those short term goals. If you're in a situation right now that you're all frustrated, you don't know what's going on, it's like, man, like everything I do is failing, everything. Reevaluate. Stop looking at the failures and start looking them as success. Start looking them at a learning point to the next step. As I go through my situation, I'm learning and relearning, learning and relearning constantly. I'm just learning and relearning. So as I end this video, I hope I made some sense. My mind goes all over the place right now, but as time goes by, I want to talk more about how we are making progress in our lives by not focusing on so much on the negative, but focusing on the small parts, the small positives in our lives. Even that one little step is a positive. Thank you for listening. Perspective from my porch, Javier Franco. I'll holler at y'all later. Thank y'all.